Is it visible now?
जी
So there are two type of variation. One is called as continuous variation and one is called as discontinuous variation. Okay. Okay. So जिस तरह name indicate करे, one is continuous and one is discontinuous. Continuous mean you would have a variety of organisms or variety in a certain trait. Okay. For example, we say skin color. There are numerous type of skin colors. So this one is the continuous variation, where you cannot differentiate or which do not have clear boundaries. You would find different colors. For example, colors. Colors itself is a continuous variation. You have lots of colors and there is no sharp boundary between many, right? If you talk about the shades of black or red, there are so many.
जी
Okay. Then second thing is the discontinuous variation. Discontinuous mean which have only few types or there are certain boundaries in between them or you can differentiate between them easily. For example, blood group. So there are only four blood groups if we do not consider positive negative. There are A, B, AB and O, right?
जी
So that would be discontinuous variation. Okay. Now, what are the causes of these variations? Let's start with continuous variation. Continuous variation can be caused by the environmental factor or can be caused by the genetic factor. Okay? For example, if you talk about the skin color or the skin texture, you most of the offspring get their skin color from their parents. And yes, it can be affected by it can be affected by the environment. Environment has some effect on our skin color due to the presence of melanin. Okay, so both environmental factors and genetics play their role in continuous variation. Let's talk about height. Is height a continuous variation or discontinuous one? Continuous. You have lots of different type of heights. You cannot differentiate between certain heights. Okay, it can be 5.11, it can be 5.11.5, it can be 5.11.25. No, it's not about change, it's about can you differentiate between their varieties, can you differentiate between these. So it's not easy to differentiate between heights, it's not easy to differentiate between skin colors. Okay, similarly you cannot differentiate between different, let's say, the shape of leaf in a certain species or the size of leaves in certain, for example, if you have a banana tree at your home, let's say, do you have any fruit tree at your home? Okay, check their leaves. Every leaf would be of different size. So the length of leaf could be different. It is a continuous variation. Okay, where there is no sharp boundary between two. Okay. Okay, second thing is a discontinuous one. This discontinuous one can only be determined or changed by the genetic factor. For example, blood group. Blood group cannot is not possible to get affected by the environment. It won't happen that if it's cold weather you would get B, if it's high like hot weather you'll get A. It doesn't change, right? So in this continuous variation, only it is influenced or it is affected by the genetic factors. Let's talk about the shape of seed. Shape of seed, because it is uh, highly dependent on a certain species. Every species, for example, mango has their different seeds. Oranges have different seeds. Apples have different seeds, right? So this is a discontinuous variation that every species has a different shape. So the shape of the seed would be discontinuous one and can be affected by the genes only. External factor cannot affect it, only genes can affect it. Okay.
ठीक है
Okay, now how do you define genes? What are genes? Genes are the small part of DNA that determine any characteristic. it it is usually made up of three nucleotides. For example, ATG, CGG, CAG, GAT. Okay, it's a combination of three nucleotide, and it controls the characteristic, a certain characteristic. You have different gene for your eye color, you have different gene for your hair color, you have different gene for your hair texture, you have different gene for your nail size, the shape of nail, the size of your nail. Okay, so each gene determine a specific characteristic. Okay, now as you know that DNA is made up of two strands, right? So, if a gene is present on this strand, the similar gene would be present on the other strand. These are partners. Okay? So, we name it as alleles, the alternative form of gene. Now, these genes, the alleles can be same, the alleles can be different. Now, how? For, sorry, I'm giving you so many examples in this. Let's say taller and smaller. If a tree is tall and it has same genes, okay, this gene is controlling height. Let's talk about height. A height gene, it can be capital D, capital T, it can be small t for shorter height, or it can be both capital T or small t. Now when we are writing two genes, it means they are alleles. We are writing alleles. Okay. Okay, so that would be allele. Any, it can be same, it can be different. Okay, but it should characterized for the similar trait. Like I'm writing it for height, let's write it for some other thing. Let's say let's say what should okay, color, yellow and yellow or green. Okay, color, it can be yellow, it can be green, or it can be both. Oh, sorry, y, it should be y. Okay, now listen, I'm telling you a very technical thing. I'm going to tell you a technical thing, so listen. जब भी आप एलील्स को रिप्रेजेंट करते हो ना, तो आपने लेटर ए की लिखना है, अल्फ़ाबेट ए की यूज़ करना है. चाहे आप कैपिटल टी यूज़ करो, चाहे स्मॉल टी यूज़ करो, अल्फ़ाबेट ए की होना चाहिए. हाइट के लिए हमने चूज़ किया कैपिटल, लेट से टी. अब अगर लंबी हाइट है तो हम उसको कैपिटल लिख देंगे, छोटी हाइट है तो स्मॉल लिख देंगे. ठीक है. इसी तरह मैंने आपको एग्जांपल दिया, हमने कलर के लिए लिया येलो, सॉरी कलर के लिए लिया वाई. कलर के लिए हमने वाई सेलेक्ट किया, कैपिटल वाई को हमने चूज कर लिया येलो के लिए, स्मॉल वाई को हमने चूज कर लिया ग्रीन के लिए. ठीक है. आपने पेयर सेम लेना है, आप अल्फाबेट नहीं चेंज कर सकते हो. ओके, एक और चीज समझा रही हूँ. जब आपने एलीज चूज करने होते हैं ना, वैसे तो आपको क्वेश्चन में दिए होते हैं, आपको बता देते हैं हमने ये वाले लेटर यूज करने हैं. अगर लेटर ना दिया हो तो लेटर हमेशा वो चूज करना है जो कैपिटल और स्मॉल डिफरेंट हो. हम सी को चूज नहीं करते बिकॉज यू कैन नॉट डिफरेंशिएट बिटवीन कैपिटल लेटर एंड स्मॉल लेटर. ठीक है. ऐसा लेटर आपने आपने वी नहीं यू चूज करना, आपने यू चूज नहीं करना. ठीक है. ऐसे लेटर्स चूज करने हैं जो कैपिटल डिफरेंट हो और स्मॉल डिफरेंट हो. सही है. ओके. Now, let's talk about the alleles of this continuous variation and discontinuous variation. हम कहते हैं in continuous variation, alleles of variation. In a continuous variation, now you can have both capital T, you can have one capital T and one small, you can have both small, right? So they're different heights. Okay.
जी.
But when we talk about the discontinuous one, let's say we have only four blood groups: A, B, AB, and O.